Okay, I'm back here. So in the last video we worked more on getting our GUI arrays set up and everything. And in the last video we were having problems with spacing. We're still having the problems with spacing, so that's going to be the first thing we take care of. So if I go ahead and switch this, you can see that the spacing isn't working properly, and there's no real indication of why we're getting something that is really close to a 15 spacing rather than the 10 we are trying to programmatically have. So now we need to just kind of deal with that real quick. And let's see what. So looking through here, so we create our group entries with y plus some kind of spacing value. And if we go into our GUI array, the GUI array doesn't actually specify the spacing. Well, it resets the spacing down here, so no matter what you do, you get a different spacing. I may end up just going ahead and taking control of the spacing away from the creation system. Yeah, you know what, that's a good idea. So we're going to go ahead and close Minecraft down while we recode a few things. So we go down to our GUI array. We were passing in the Y spacing. We're just going to not do that anymore. So we'll go new entry, get rid of the spacing, and we'll just go, okay, you just get whatever Y value you get, and that'll work. That looks good. Get rid of our spacing on here. Get rid of that. And what you'll have to do is you'll just have to change your spacing manually in the array. You'll just have to go, hey, we want our spacing to be 15 or whatever. So we get that Y spacing, button entry. We reload our position down here so we don't have to set our spacing here. We'll just set our spacing down here. And then this will do our spacing over here. So we just, it's good, it's taken care of for us. Now we just go ahead and launch. And then if it's still broken after we launch, then we're going to have to do some debug and figure out why the flip our spacing's messed up. Still strange why it's weird. I wonder if it's rendering wrong. It's hard to kind of figure that out if you're having a rendering problem without doing some advanced math, and you gotta then ask is like, hey, is your math messed up or something? And I don't think any of this is probably broken because it should function as intended. Because we're piggybacking the buttons to make this work, and the buttons render perfectly fine, and their position logic is really good. Although we need to implement a tooltip system. That's going to be one of the major next tasks for GUIs is implementing an automated tooltip system. So that way, when you're hovering over a button and the button goes, yeah, I got a tooltip, display the tooltip. We'll also have to add a detection system that'd be like, hey, if you're hovering over a button for more than 5 seconds or something, then display the tooltip. So that way the tooltips don't pop up every time you hover over something. Like, imagine how annoying that would be if you hovered over every button because it would get in your way. We also need a system to turn the tooltips off because I know people would just get annoyed with them after a while because they'll be like, I know the GUI in and out, and we'll just turn them off. What that'll end up probably being is it'll just be a button that'll hover at the top of every GUI. That'll be like, hey, turn tooltips on and off. It'll probably just be a help button. I do know I need to put a blue help button in all the GUIs that'll open up the wiki pages. So maybe not that button. It'll be a gear. We'll put a gear, and then in the gear there'll be a tab that'll go, hey, turn tooltips off. And that'll be some kind of setting that would save on your local machine. Although I am getting tempted to do the ideal of making an account system. Did we crash? Hey, the virtual machine broke. That is not a bug on our end. Failed the right core dump. We got no crash message. Other than that, just like, hey, submit a thing. Yeah, I think we ran out of memory. Yeah, we were up there on the memory list when I opened it up initially. It's cleaned itself up, so we're just gonna run debug again. This happens occasionally. It's just basically you either run out of memory, you were trying to load a file from the hard drive while it was doing something else, and it just failed on you. I blame Windows for that problem though. There's quite a few other issues that cause it. It's only if it repeatedly starts happening should you go investigate it. If it happens once, just ignore it. Do a rebuild on your thing, maybe restart your computer. If it becomes a consistent problem, then maybe start asking for help, go Google. Because it is a JVM crash. It's literally Java itself crashing, not your program. Which means there's something wrong with maybe Java. Reinstalling Java is an ideal solution to fix it. I have multiple Javas installed, so that probably could be why it's messing up. I doubt it though. Which, by the way, I did only have one version of Java installed up until recently again. I used to be one of those people that had every version of Java installed, and then here, like last year, I was like, you know what, I'm uninstalling them all. And I uninstalled them all. I kept the installers though. They're on a floppy, not a floppy disk, a USB drive somewhere around here. I still don't know why I keep started calling USBs floppies. My brain just doesn't want to connect the two properly. Um, but now I've got a Java 5 and 6 installed again, and I think I have 7 installed again for Java versions because I was trying to make a couple old mods for people because people are like, hey, I want you to go make me a 1.1 mod, and I'm like, well, snap, I'm going to need to go pull Java 6 out for that. Because if you try to run that in Java 8, it just doesn't want to work. And it has to do with the ASM. The ASM doesn't run in the newer Java versions. It just physically doesn't function. Suppose there's a workaround for that though. I haven't done enough investigation because it's just literally not worth my time. If I can't get it working after maybe a day worth of work, then the $60 I would get paid is not worth it. Because after all, my hourly rate is like 15 an hour basically. Although I usually when I'm making mods for people, I bump that down to 5 because I'm a really generous person when it comes to Minecraft modding. And if you want anything outside of Minecraft modding, you're getting basically fully charged, unless you're like a charity or something. Wrong button. Good to know. I can't see. Watch this. So if I open the menu and I hit Control Grave, I can't open outside of that. So that's good to see. Our spacing's still jacked. Not only that, we're only seeing one group entry now. For some reason, it's showing its buttons. The other ones are there, but they're not rendering their buttons. What in the world is wrong with this? Index out of bounds exception. Profile array callback. Index is less than GUI.profile names. Length. Surprised we didn't crash. Do that real quick, and then we also want to do a null check real quick, just in case we have a borked packet. Doesn't eat. Oh, I don't want to do that. Come on, you stupid machine. I held down the control button for a little too long, which is what just happened there. That really? What that? Oh no. What else did I hit? I hit some kind of hotkey. Okay, so we want to reload the GUI. Here we go. Okay, so we're still having a problem here. We just got another. Okay, I'm gonna do this real quick. We're getting stuff coming out of the console. The fact is we're not getting anything in the console right now, which is weird. I just fixed that, so that's not an issue anymore. But we're having a problem with the group buttons not showing up. So we know these are here. These ones are physically just not there. We also forgot to do our string display render. No, wait, we did do our string display render. Why aren't we seeing it? Group entry, do render. Oh, because this derp. So we can do that real quick. Oh, cool. Those need spaced. So +5. Looks nice. Buttons aren't showing up there though. I don't know what's causing this. We're definitely getting an add call here. This is all showing up. I mean, it's rendering. Update positions, reload group. Could be the position logic maybe screwing up. I doubt it. The next ideal is a visibility call, but if it's a visibility call, we wouldn't even get a do render here. So it's not that. Scroll buttons need to disable. We gotta fix that. Same thing over here. Those should be disabled by default. We need to bump our text down 1 pixel as well. That looks good. I'm going to increase the spacing on our buttons here real quick because I kind of want to get a little nicer spacing out of these. Oh, that's the first time I've seen Morton on anything. Okay, so we do this, refresh, click. Okay, so we got our spacing there. It looks a little weird having an extra black edge hanging off there. I'll work on that later. But I wanted to increase the spacing here because I kind of want to do something with these. I might make these buttons much larger because, I mean, look at all the space we have to play with. I mean, even when you consider the fact if you go down to a smaller monitor, that spacing stays about the same. So, like, we really, really small. Oh, God, man, I love how the fact Minecraft stuff resizes stuff like that. So nice. But why aren't our buttons showing up? And why are we getting this weird spacing? Okay, so this dot draw rectangle. Not gradient rectangle. Not textured rectangle. Guess vertical line is what we're gonna have to use. Okay, so vertical line, I'm gonna say XY. There's a draw rect here. So there's a draw rectangle. XX, Y, XY color. Okay, so we want the draw rec. Draw rect. And what this is going to be is our X position, Y position, which should be our upper left corner for these. And then we want to go plus width, plus height. And then we need a color, so we're going to use default string color. Why am I not seeing... I'm not seeing that render. That makes no sense. I should have just literally had a... actually I need to bind a texture here most likely. What is the bind texture called? If we go to super, we'll probably find it. I need to bind a texture that's not screwbally. So this will be shared assets.gray texture. No. Still not getting anything to draw. Doesn't make any sense to me. Let me try reloading the GUI. No, it's still not drawing. Doesn't make any sense. We should be getting some weird, bizarre behavior here. I'm gonna call draw radian rect here. Which, by the way, says X, Y. What are you? You're a collar. And what are you? Oh, you're two collars. Okay. So let's try draw gradient rect because I think we'll get a behavior out of that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to debug really quickly what's going on with our stuff. Is our size actually matching what we're supposed to have? I'm not getting a rectangle draw. Is do render not even being... No, do render is being called because we're getting a string. So what is happening? Maybe it's not the collar because it should be a big white rectangle. Could be the Z level? I doubt that is an issue. Because the blending's turned on, which means it's going to be whatever is behind it's going to blend into it. This is why I hate doing render code. Render code, there's no way to debug render code. in order to test to see if your render code works, you just need to render more things to see if those things render in the correct positions. I mean, we're getting a background render, so the fact is the background is in the correct position. So now the only thing I can do is do this and check to see what my position data is. So X is 130, this is 50. My width is 190, my height is 10. So that's not a problem, where all of our math is showing up. So that's not the problem. So hit play. So it's got to be the spacing. So now what we need to do is go over to GUI array, click here, do that, which will reset our system. So our index, our Y spacing is still 20. Ooh, see this? These two are switched. Oh shit, I can't change it. No, I can change it because I can change the signature without changing the signature. So this will be entries, and this will be Y spacing. I don't think it'll break. Yes, it didn't break. We have found it's a really simplistic typo which we just had happen. I changed the order of the method call raise. So if we reload, it broke everything. I'm okay with this. We just select, you notice we're selecting two buttons. Let's see if this breaks things. Okay, our spacing is perfect. We got to figure out where our buttons are showing up, and we got to fix our spacing over here. What are these buttons, like 20? They're got to be 20 tall. So what happened? Our order of operations are switched. Let me fix. So we need to call this. No, not call that. We need to go back to that. Call this one. Then switch these two, because I don't know what happened, why I decided to make the order different than its override. And then you know what? Just for safety reasons, in case I decide to change the default, we'll put 20 in there. That way there's no way it'll change on us. There we go. Our spacing's now fixed. And click this, click that, click that. We now got to figure out why our other buttons aren't showing up. I know why our other button's showing up. Okay, so this might blow your mind. All of the buttons are on the screen right now. Try to guess what's wrong. Basically, they're all rendering in the same spot. So what we need to do is go over to our group object, and we need to, it's actually being caused, well, that doesn't make any sense actually, now I'm thinking about it, because we're calling it super.update. Super.update will call update on all of our components, which then in theory, if we're a container, which is what group object is, should call update on all of its components. Is we set our Y spacing here. Okay, we're gonna hit this here real quick. And then if we pick a new group type, okay, so we're in GUI array. We've set all of our positioning. And if we go into here, oh no, why is update position logic false by default? It is. We have found our bug. Really simple, not paying attention issues. Hit play. Do this. Reload. There we go, fixed. So we got our spacing here, we got all our buttons now. So now we need to make these buttons do something. So what we want to do is we want to open up the editing GUI for each one of these. So the first one needs to be, something. What do we need? So we need to be able to edit the users, we need to be able to edit the group, and we need to be able to edit the nodes. So I'm thinking gear, player face, and then maybe a dot for the last one. So gear, yeah, player face. So we need icons for these. But so the first one is going to be our edit group, edit user, edit nodes. Actually, we're going to put the user at the last one. So we now need to set up actions. And this is going to involve opening another GUI, by the way. So we're going to have to make GUIs for this. But first, we're going to just kind of do things. I'm going to get rid of that while I'm at it. But I can close these now, but I need to open this one. So this one needs to be action performed is what we're going to grab method-wise. So what we want to do is you want to get all of our IDs for, of course. So we'll go int ID, and we'll go ID equals 0, and so on and so on. So the normal thing real quick. Else. So do 1, 2, and then if it's not the ID we want, we just call the super. There's nothing in the super right now, but say for example we wanted to add some debug to buttons. We wanted to add a button next to a button that let us change its color, let us change its tone. This will of course come into play in the JSON system, so there'll be some kind of GUI editor you can load up and edit your GUIs in game. And there'll be like things like drag and drop, movement, and this will all cache to the JSON system, and you'll be able to export the GUI and copy that data, do whatever you want with it. Okay, so groups nodes, so this will be edit group, edit nodes, edit users. And then how are we going to handle this? So we're going to need to make a GUI. And we're going to need, so we're actually going to need to do a few things. So we're going to need dialogues. So we need a few dialogues. So we're going to need GUI yes, no dialogue. The irony is I've made a lot of these before, and I wish I kept hold of them. So this will be our yes, no back buttons type dialogue. We then need trying to think of how to do this. So what I want to do is I want this dialog to pop up. And we want to be able to do stuff with it. And the trick is, do we want to make a whole new GUI to do this? Or do we want to make it pop up in the middle of our current GUI so we can toy around with it? And I'm leaning towards the popping up in our current GUI because this means we don't have to do a whole GUI system. We just have to pass everything back in. And this lets us make our GUI into a component. Then what we go is, okay, is component focused? And then you just block all redirects. And I like that idea because that lets us do a lot with that. And then let's get a subcomponent. So we want to make something here. So I'm going to go GUI dialog, which then will extend GUI component container. And then we want to pass back our system here. So it would be E extends GUI dialog. Then we need to get our constructors here. I'm only going to do the ID XY constructor here because the other ones aren't exactly useful. And this will extend GUI dialog. And this will be GUI yes no because we won't have anything to extend this one. And this will be pretty easy. You'll just have two buttons and you'll have a message. So we also want to go string title, string message. And what we'll do is we'll go this dot display string will equal the title. That way we'll get a little bit, we won't have to worry about that. And then we'll go public string message. And we'll store that real quick. We're going to come back and make this dialog here later. The dialog we want to make right now would be I guess edit users. We're gonna need a back button. I'm trying to go with this. The idea that's coming to mind, you know the whole area we have the group display on? I want to treat that as the dialog frame. And then when you click this, it'll switch out that frame. So you still have the profiles on the side for editing, but then you know you're inside of a subsystem here. So that means we need a group. Actually, we're gonna come back to this. So we need frames, new package frame. So we're gonna make GUI frame, and we're gonna have to copy a lot of these back out of this package into a different package. So I'm gonna have to make sure I don't sync for a while. This will be E, and then we'll do the whole thing again. By the way, it doesn't matter what you use for the character for these. So some people that are not familiar with generics know notice I'm using G or using E a lot for this. It doesn't matter what you use. There's actually no reason or rhyme for the characters. All they have to do is match. Think of them as variables. So it's no different than me going, let's do type here, int I, int E, or J. It's no different than that. You're essentially saying we have a variable E, which then has to extend GUI frame, that then we pass into here. So we create the generic here, and then we pass the generic up to the super. And yeah, that's good. So we have our GUI frame, which we'll do a whole bunch of stuff with here in a bit. And then what we're going to do... Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and start dragging this stuff down to the prefabs folder real quick for GUIs. So let's make a new... Actually, we'll go ahead and we'll put all of this in components. So we'll do package frame. We'll throw frame down here. And we'll do dialogues. Dialogue. Ah, I just put an extra character in there. I need to start using Loomblock, by the way. You notice how I've got it actually installed if I actually click this? If I go like new... actually, I saw a pop-up. So we go new package. No, it doesn't show up there. Maybe it's refactor. Here we go. Yeah, I can do some Loomblock stuff here, and I don't use Loomblock enough, and we don't really have our script set up for it. But I kind of need to start using it because there's a lot of things Loomblock is good for that I should be using, and I haven't been doing it, and it does save a ton of work. Anyways, we want to pass these down here, so we'll work on them down here. That way I'm not making a whole bunch of stuff up here, and then we're only making dialogues and stuff that we need. So we'll need like something, for example, so it'd be GUI dialogue new group will be a dialogue we would have up here, and we would have GUI dialogue new profile. There'd be new something like this, GUI dialogue add user. We would have remove user. It would go on and on. I'm only going to put these three because there's only three we're going to make right now. Okay, we need a frame, so we're going to do this. So we need GUI frame. We'll make one called groups. And we'll do another one here. We'll do GUI frame group. So that'll be, we're adding a specific group. We're going to do a couple more here. So we'll do a GUI frame user. So you're adding a specific user. Then we'll do GUI frame group users. So we're looking at all of our group users. And then there'll be a GUI frame profile users. I'm trying to decide how reusable is the GUI frame user going to be. I think it should be pretty reusable, so we won't have to worry about that. You'll just click a user and the thing, it'll pop up user, and you'll just have to keep track of what your last frame was, or your last thing it was. So how we're going to do this, I need to close a lot of these. Wow, I opened up a lot of GUIs when I was working on this. So we want, I need to clean this up. Right, luckily we have everything in our package, so I don't have to worry about it getting all clustered. We have this. We got our GUI access system, so we're going to need to know what our current frame is. So we're going to go public GUI frame, current frame. And maybe we want to store our last frame here, so we know exactly what last frame we had open, and then we don't have to worry about the frames keeping track of what the frames are open. Let's not do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do up here. So we're going to go public GUI frame return, or we'll go last opened frame. And we'll keep track of that in there. That way, if we switch and do stuff, and this will act pretty much exactly what we have right now. Except we need to switch our group array to our current group frame. So we're going to do that first. So we make sure that our frame system is going to work. So we'll go frame groups. This will extend GUI frame, and then we'll pass in GUI frame groups. And we're going to need our whole system here. We're going to need to pass in the parent. We'll just keep track of the parent this way. I'm trying to think of like some way to do this properly, but we'll just do it this way. I'll come up with a solution later. So it'll be this dot parent equals parent. Did I misspell that? Yes, I did. Parnet. Yeah, we'll rename the parameter too. And then what we want to do is we want to just kind of move our group array over there. So we'll put our group array, and we'll have the same thing. So there'll be an initialize GUI here thing. So this will actually go into the frame itself. And you'll initialize a GUI, and then we're pretty much treating the frames as if they were a GUI without actually being a GUI. So they'll end up getting all of the same stuff. It's all the same components, everything. So this will be super init GUI override. So we get our group array here. We actually had a spacing we had in mind for how big the groups should be. Oh, we accidentally copied something we weren't supposed to copy. That goes back here. And we don't have a button list, but we do have like some kind of super thing, so we're going to do that. This actually needs to be set here though. This needs to be... Does this need to be the parent? Yeah, this needs to be the parent object. Because what we're doing is this thing is actually editing a few different things. Yeah, we're getting our group row and a couple other things from that. So reload groups. So what we're going to do is we can go if current frame. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Instead of just storing current frame, we're going to go like this. We're going to go GUI frame groups, and we'll have our groups frame. And we're going to make the frame, and we'll just store it. So we'll change its visibility when we don't need it. So this way we can go group frames, reload entries and stuff. So we'll go group frame equals new GUI frame groups. What was our previous ID? It was 5. And this is where we kind of need relative paths and stuff, because then what we want to do is we want to treat that whole entire side of that GUI as a single frame, and then you just kind of want to start nesting objects into it. But right now we're going to just kind of forcibly position it. We want to kind of do 120 for our X, 40 for our Y. That way it's lined up with the rest of the stuff. And I think that's the only thing we need. Yeah, that's all we need. And we don't need to do anything else. We just kind of need to make sure we reload stuff. So we want to go down group frame dot group array dot reload. And this should work. We should get the same exact render out of this. We should have no problems. We just have to, yeah, we have initialize set up. So what we want to do is go group frame dot init GUI. And then we go button list dot add group frame. And we're gonna fix this button list thing real quickly here before I forget. What we want to do is we go up to the screen base, and we would just want to add an add method real quick. So be protected void. Oh no, not protected void. We're gonna do protected e extends GUI component add e component. Or are we gonna do invalid method declaration need a return type? Oh. Return component. And we would go button list add component. And I need to fix component spelling because apparently I'm going to misspell words today. Called to add a component to the GUI. And that way we can start doing add like this. Although we may have to cast things depending on... Oh, we didn't have to cast anything there. Now we can get rid of all these extra lines here. And we won't forget as often to set up our system because usually I usually copy and paste lines to start with, so I don't usually miss this, but it will be easier to deal with. So this will be profile array, and this might turn into a frame too here pretty soon because that's frame is the wrong word we called it, but we're gonna stick with it because how GUI uses the frame system is your entire GUI is the frame, but I think you can nest frames. I don't remember. I think you can. It's been a while since I've done Swing GUIs. I like the Java FX system, although I think Java FX does frames too, but it's been a while since I've done any Java GUIs. I work with Minecraft and indie games, and both of those you use OpenGL a lot. Okay, let's see. My dog's going to be annoying if you hear her in the mic. I think she wants attention. So I'll have to cut this short so I can go take her for a walk. So let's see. So be group frame. I don't know why I'm labeling this stuff. It's pretty obvious what these are. And these are going to be menu buttons. Taz, can you be patient? My dog has no concept of that I'm working right now. She's like, "Oh, you're awake. We need to go for a walk." What? Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so I've returned here. I'm not even going to bother even cutting that little gap out of this section either. I don't really enjoy video editing. Yeah, the dog just went outside. I open the door, she immediately runs out and then jumps onto the little cushion thing we have out there and then just lays down. And I'm like, if you're going to lay, why can't you just lay down inside too? I would have opened the window and you got sunlight either way. Where are we at? So we were working on the group frame. We want to make sure that's rendering and everything. I think with it being in the button list, it'll get all the calls it needs to render, so we don't need to do anything with it right now. We're just pretty much treating it like it's a container. So we're going to hit debug and see if it runs. It should. And then what we're going to do with the current frame thing is whatever current frame is loaded, that's what's going to render, and everything else is going to be invisible. Although I don't think we have to do anything. I think we just set visibility. And visibility just turns off functionality on GUIs. Luckily, I made a GUI system in OpenGL once and I forgot that fact. And it's like I turned something invisible, but I forgot to check to see if it should be turned off. And I was clicking things, and I could hear the buttons click in the background, but like, what? There's nothing there. And it turns out that the GUI is there because the GUI is physically still detecting for things. but then I forgot to go, hey, if you're not visible, don't do anything. Because it's not like when you set something invisible, it actually disappears and gets removed. It just stops rendering. That's the only thing that changes. So you have to then set up that your enable check also checks for visibility. So if you're turned off and stuff like that. Although the really cool thing is you can add hidden features that way, where it's like if you put your mouse in a certain hidden spot of the GUI, you can do extra things and stuff like that. A lot of really cool things you can do. I kind of want to start getting into the habit of making Easter eggs, but I don't want to get overkill on them because I have seen games that are too Easter egg heavy. And what you want to do is you want to put occasional Easter eggs. You don't want to lather it up like it's butter, because then people kind of get the ideal that Easter eggs are common, and then when you don't add them to your next feature, they're like, oh, where's the hidden thing? You want to layer them in there like they're those extra goodies, like finding. Actually, I don't know how to, like a prize in a Cracker Jack box. I don't even know if most of you are even familiar with that. Most of you probably going like, what is a Cracker Jack box? Well, it's caramel popcorn with peanuts, and what was it? Thing you could buy. You can still buy them now, but they're not very common. But they have a prize in them. Cereal used to come with prizes too. I don't know if new cereal comes with prizes. I don't buy the stuff anymore. If I buy it, I buy those big bulk bags, which you get for like a couple dollars. Okay. What is going on right there? That's our component, which is the frame we just made rendering. Look, it looks like it's rendering just fine. This is where we need relative paths because our component's actually right there, but then we're rendering right there. So we need to set up relative path the next thing, but I'm going to go ahead and end this video here because I want to go take my dog for a walk, and I just noticed that when I was walking past back from letting the dog outside, my TV works now, so I might go catch up on TV because we have the History Channel now and everything. Before we got the new hardware, we had 4 channels, maybe 5 channels that worked. And now we have all the channels again, so I can actually watch things. But yeah, we're getting there. We're pretty close. Now we just need to set up button functionality, which I thought I was going to do in this video, but I'll get to the next one. But we got our frame system, so our frame system will let us move things around, and we'll probably turn this into a frame, and then I'll set up some kind of split panel so the frames will self-adjust their own width. Then we need to get listeners, so that way when we resize, the listeners will understand that they need to readjust, and quite a few things. Also, conveniently, with me getting off the time, my headset just alerted me its battery's dead. Oh well, another video, another time.